Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. First, from my side, a short introduction about myself and the company DATACOPY Publishing Solutions. Let's have a look. Very briefly about myself. My name is Erwin Mueller, and I am employed by DATACOPY since 1993 now, in the meantime. I am what is commonly referred to as a senior principal consultant, also certified service professional since 2017, member of DATACOPY Support Plus, which is not only support in the common use, but it is a special support for our customers. I'm primarily concerned with PTC Arbortext products, means Arbortext Editor, Arbortext Styler, Publishing Engine. I started in I think it was 1995 with 3B2, Advent 3B2. Simon will know this. And the name changed to APP, Arbortext Print Publisher, and nowadays it is PTC Arbortext Layout Developer, a very powerful instrument for creating layouts and desktop publishing. And within this demonstration, within this demo, you will see that ALD, the kernel of ALD, is in the meantime the print engine, the primary print engine of Arbortext and Arbortext Publishing Engine. Another part is Windshield Service Information Manager, SIM, plus Service Parts Information, SPI. And all these things, all this stuff with regard to technical documentation. So far, so good. Let's swap to DATACOPY at a glance. DATACOPY Publishing Solutions, founded in Cologne in 1982. The company headquarters are still located in Cologne up till now. We have 8 permanent employees plus 6 associated consultants, means consultants on demand, so that we can react flexible depending on the order situation. If there is a lot of stuff to do, we can take access to the additional associated consultants. In total, we can access over 200 years of experience. So you can imagine that we are not a very young troop, but it's okay. In the meantime, we have over 250 satisfied customers all over Europe, even in Africa, India, and also the Middle East. Major business areas. Our major business areas are, as you can see, it's self-explaining, high-end publishing, technical documentation, which is strictly related to high-end publishing or to publishing in general, and also service information. Today, we will not reflect the service information at all in this case, only using the high-end publishing stuff from the Arbortext applications and refer slightly to technical documentation as well. Our mission is Service Information 4.0. What does it mean? The areas that we serve in this environment are, in first, mainly business consulting and implementation services. Primarily, maybe how can the customer achieve added value when using Arbortext products? We implement new implementations because or when the customer doesn't have any Arbortext products at all, any PTC products at all, we start new implementations, but also optimize existing solutions and system. We are often better able to judge from the outside what improvements are possible, respectively, what improvements are useful for the customer according to his requirements. In connection with the implementation, there is also training and support available from DATACOPY. We do this as well. And last but not least, we sell such solutions or software as well. What a surprise. Arbortext solution, PTC Arbortext solution. This is the overall solution for technical documentation in this case. It starts using Arbortext editor plus Styler to create XML content, to create Styler style sheets, to give it a certain presentation. And it's strictly related to automation of top quality publication for print. The next thing we will do today is the deliver section. The deliver section is in this area is focused on the publishing engine. That means a service to provide us to create PDFs from Arbortext Styler connected to publishing engine to process PDF publications. Create. In this case, it is focused on Arbortext editor and Arbortext Styler. These are the two applications we are interested today. We can create and maintain style sheets in a cost-effective manner. We have a short introduction to XML, means open standard DITA, Darwin information typing architecture, which enables us to create small information modules. And once created, these modules can be reused as often as you like. And this is another issue that reduces costs. Creation of illustration based on CAD data will not be the focus of today, but it can be discussed, let me say, in another session if you like. It can be handled by PTC as well. Deliver publishing to different formats like PDF and HTML. This is what we have, or what we will see today in the case of deliver high quality publishing to different formats. PDF, HTML, web, eBook, means EPUB or whatever. Let's have a last slide, the overview of what we were talking about in the last few minutes. On the left-hand side, you have the creation part, Arbortext editor plus Styler. We will focus today. Additionally, you have two applications available from PTC, Arbortext IsoDraw and Creo Illustrate, to create either 2D illustrations or 3D illustrations, which can be used in Arbortext editor. And on the right-hand side, the deliver part with Arbortext Publishing Engine. Arbortext Content Delivery is another stuff to deliver electronic media, but in this case today, it is not part of this demo. So that's it for the moment. Let's swap to the presentation. If there are any questions, we will directly go to the Arbortext products, Arbortext Editor and Styler in this case. Okay. Let me say some introductory words about Arbortext Styler, which is here on the left-hand side. Oh, on the right-hand side. It enables you to create so-called multi-channel style sheets for PDF, HTML, web, help systems, and even RTF. So it gives you the ability to develop both simple and complex style sheets for multiple outputs, as you can see in here. Within one single style sheet, you are able to create different outputs to different output media, like PDF or HTML in this case. It also provides you a very simple user interface, as you can see, to create either page layouts for text, page layouts and text formatting stuff. You do not have any need for programming skills. I think the user interface is more or less self-explaining in this area. You do not have to learn programming languages or different standards like CSS, XSL, or whatever. And another benefit is that you can extend the style sheet or the sources that you create with the UI or through the UI using so-called source edits. And this is what we will have a look on later. Another benefit is generated text. Yeah, you can use generated text, auto-generated text within your Styler style sheets, automatically created within this Styler style sheet, and this auto-generated text can be translated according to the language settings. File, style sheet properties, language. You always start with the so-called creation language. That means the source language of your documents. In here, it is English. And you also have the ability to define target languages. Means whenever you have the ability to translate your documents later on to German, to English, to Spanish, to French, or whatever, you have to define it within the Styler style sheet in this dialog. Yeah, and once you have assigned target languages, you are able to translate the generated text as well according to these target languages. But this is an issue we can reflect later on if there is time enough to talk about it. These are the advantages of the Styler style sheets, maybe the UI of the Styler. So you do not need any knowledges of programming or different standards, but nevertheless, it does not hurt if you have the knowledge, but it's not essential. And the UI enables you to create modular style sheets. This is another aspect, another benefit we will talk about later on. Style sheet properties. Let's see the general tab. In the general tab, you define your publishing types. We have seen in here, base all outputs, the outputs to edit. You can define these outputs within your style sheet properties, print PDF, EPUB, HTML file, and so on. And if everything is checked, in this case it is, you are able to use all of these outputs within a single Styler style sheet. Let's have a look at the UI itself. It's, let me say, it's a bit separated in the main area, which is a functional area that uses certain tabs for elements, for property sets, for page sets, and so on. And each tab gives you the ability to work on a separate kind of information. Let's stay at the first tab in this case. It gives you the ability to see a list of all elements in this document, or better, in your document type in a certain order, inclusive if it is set, styler formatting elements, and user formatting elements. Styler formatting elements are relevant for the formatting procedures, and you are not able to, let me say, to create them. They are predefined by Arbortext Styler, and you can use it either for, let me say, to typo your table of contents and so on, your index, your indexes, if you have any. But nevertheless, you can switch it on and switch it off in this case. And only elements in document. That would mean you see only the elements that are available in the document on the right side, on the left side. That means not the complete bunch of all elements in your document type, like it is in this case. Yeah. Let's refer to the styler concepts. There's a conceptual idea behind the styler, and it always starts with styles. Yeah, you see here in the style column that each element from your document type is a certain style applied, a table style or an inline style, a title style, and so on. These styles are nothing else but predefined roles for your DTD elements that are assigned or applied to elements to give it a certain presentation later on when you publish these documents. Only if a style is applied to your DTD elements, you are able to access the properties underneath, below here, for instance, text properties, indents, or spacing, or whatever. You have to apply a style to your DTD element, and then you are able to manipulate or to change your properties according to the category, in this case, text color, for instance, or whatever. The next is property sets. The next concept is property set. You are able to work in a modular manner to create, let me say, properties for certain elements. You can collect these properties within such so-called property sets, and you are also able to nest property sets. This is the second icon from the from the toolbar, from the tab bar, in this case, property sets. And as you can see, there is a bunch of property sets available. Font italic, for instance. And here you can see the content font italic. That means in the text category for this property set, font italic, it's only one property applied, italic, yes. And so you could have a color property set with color red or whatever. More than one properties can be assigned to a property set, and property sets can be nested within other property sets. This makes it really modular. This is a modular approach to share formatting properties between elements from your DTD. Yeah. For example, what is the benefit of it? You either can apply these properties to the, let me say, to the DTD elements directly, or you can create, and you should do that, a property set or a bunch of property sets that can be applied to elements, a lot of other elements. For instance, if you have a lot of elements, 10 elements, which should behave the same when you publish them to the to PDF, you can create property sets with all these properties and apply the property sets to the elements. And then all the elements, this property set or these property sets are applied to behave in the same manner. And when you have to change a property, you don't have to change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. You only have to access the relevant property set. And in this case, you change the property in this property set, and all the changes will reflect automatically all the other elements this property set is applied to. This reduces the amount of work for developing those style sheets extremely. So it is always useful to work with property sets, applied to certain elements. The other two concepts in Styler style sheets, which are very powerful, are contexts and conditions. A context is nothing else but an element's location within the structure of your XML or HTML documents. Yeah. For instance, if you have let me scroll a bit down. Let me select this title element. Title in division. That means, as you can see here, it's already marked title in division. We have another title. It's always the same element, but in another context. Content ref. Title in content ref in division. Yeah, you have context. That means the appearance of certain documents. For instance, in this case, it is the title element, can appear in different locations, and dependent on the context this title element appears, you must have the ability to apply different formatting properties. And this enables you to do that, creating contexts. And based on these contexts, you can additionally apply conditions. Yeah, and this is nothing else but an additional possibility to differentiate based on, for instance, attribute values, a different formatting within this context. Let's have a look at this when we refer to this ordered list in here. It contains of several list entries, and within a list entry, we have a paragraph. And when we have a look in the styler, it sees or it marks directly the correct context. It's a list entry, first P in list entry, this one. And the next P in the next list entry is not first P in list. So we have different contexts of paragraph within lists. Yeah, this is always the same. It's always first, not first in LI. Let's go to the last paragraph of this list entry, and let's create another context. Not first in P, not first, last. Okay. Let's refresh the editor view. It takes a few seconds. And once it is processed, we can see the change in the Arbortext editor view. Last P in LI. P anywhere in LI. P in LI. Yeah, you have three different contexts of P in LI at the moment. This is first P in LI. This is P anywhere in LI. And this is last P in LI. And if you want to have a different presentation of the different contexts of P and LI, you can change, for instance, the text color, which makes it easy to reflect the changes. Let's have a look if it works. Nevertheless, this should enable you to create different contexts of an element and apply different formatting properties to each of these contexts. And in addition, for each context, you can, what is it? A warning, while processing element, ignore. It is text color red. In this case, last P and LI. In this case, also last P and LI, because it's the only one we have in this context. Yeah. If we wanted to create, let me say, a condition only, that means if there is only one paragraph within a list entry, we can use this position only, and then we can differentiate between all the other contexts when only one entry, on one paragraph, is the content of such a list entry. And if it is, you can do something. For instance, create a different color, a different, let me say print color, an additional information for the user, that is for the author that is doing his work in Arbortext Editor, to show him using, for instance, a side rule or whatever, that there is something wrong. A lot of companies do have the requirement that they must have more than one paragraph within a list entry, or they must have more than one list entry within an unordered list or an ordered list. And this can be done using contexts. OL, UL. UL everywhere. First P and LI. Insert condition. A condition can be applied to each context. And there can be multiple conditions that can be applied to such a context. And a condition can be based on an attribute test, a content test, or an XPath test, an XPath eval. In this case, I will try to open or to do a test according to an attribute, which means the current paragraph or the parent or the ancestor. Let's have a look. What is it? It's UL, output class demo. Output class equals to demo, then do something. Yeah, this is a condition. And once this condition matches, you can apply different properties. Conditions, contexts, according or based on the contexts, you can have conditions. And it always starts with styling your elements, your DTD elements, giving them a special role for your DTD elements, and using property sets. These are the four basic concepts of Arbortext Styler. You have three possibilities to publish documents to PDF, for instance, in Arbortext Styler Publishing Engine. The first is using Publishing Engine. This is the preferable one. The second one is in Arbortext Styler. As you have seen, you can create a PDF preview, not only a PDF preview, but also an HTML preview or whatever. And this is very useful during development to create a PDF and directly to see the result in the PDF. The second one, Styler. The third one, third possibility to create PDF or to publish documents to PDF is using the Composer license. Yeah, this is useful if you have a standalone environment, only Arbortext Editor, one Arbortext Editor license, and you don't want to, or you do not have the need to buy an application like Publishing Engine. You can buy a license for composing to PDF, Composer license. These are the three possibilities you have. So let's see, what else do we have? Elements with properties applied, property sets that can be applied to elements. And the next 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs are strictly related to page definition, layout definition. That means you can define generated content, for instance, header information, footer information, or whatever. And these generated content can be applied to so-called page regions for left-hand pages, for right-hand pages, for blank pages, whatever. And these page regions can be applied to page types. Blank page, a chapter right page, contents page, and so on. And this page types, a collection of page types, can be applied to a so-called page set. And a page set applied to the starting element, in this case, the tag info map. In here starts your page definition. In this case, tag info cover page with all the information of page types and page regions and generated contents inside to create your documents according to a certain page definition, layout definition. The next is table of contents. You can have multiple table of contents within your document. In most cases, you have one, maximum two, but you can have a bunch of it in your document. For instance, a so-called book talk chapter, which is applied, which has the scope to the tag info map. That means it will create a table of contents according to your titles, your title definitions within the whole document, within your whole tag info map. And in here, you can customize title contents and you can select how it should look like later on. The same for index definitions, for custom tables, for cross-references, and for sizes. This is another aspect you should bear in mind when you create those style sheets. You have the ability to create size definitions by a meaningful name, for instance, page width and page height, and then use these size definitions later on when you create your page layout. This is the same benefit you have when you are using property sets. You only have to change this size definition later on when you want to change it from 11-inch to 10-inch. And wherever this size definition is used, it will be changed in order to your changes done in this size definition itself. Same for combined fonts. Combined fonts are nothing else but a collection of, let me say, several fonts to mix up a new font by using separate character sets. You can define a default font for, let me say, Asia scripts, European alphabets, use another font, and for this character set, use this font, and so on. Most of the companies do not have a single true type font or a single open type font with all the glyphs, all the characters inside they need during formatting. And so they can build up their, in double quotes, their own fonts, so-called combined fonts, by a mixture of several fonts using different character sets. Another powerful mechanism is APP function. You can use APP functions instead of these property sets to create a function tag within APP. It's corresponding to it, to call those functions during formatting. It makes it very powerful during formatting to access these functions that provide you with a lot of stuff. For instance, automatically create the document name of your publication and so on. These are the possibilities within this area to define separate properties for separate functional container. The most work will be done on the Elements tab. That means to apply properties or property sets to the elements itself to give it a certain presentation. Named sizes and so on. Let's have a look at title. Where is it? Tech info map. Title in tech info map. You can see in the category text or breaks or property sets which of these properties are applied to this title or this context, means title in tech info map. And when you place your cursor over a certain field, in this case, you can see this is derived from property set font size 30. That means this is not explicitly set and applied to the element itself. No, it derives this information from another element. In this case, it is the property set font size 30. Right click and you can directly switch to this property set to see the change. Yeah, it's 30. And in here, you can see it's specified explicitly. When you revert to the title in Tech Info, you hover over this font size, you see the derivation chain, right click, property set, font size. Or let's say font text, go to specified explicitly. For these property sets, in most cases, the properties are applied specified, means explicitly, but it can also be that it is nested within another property set and so on. And then you can get the location where the information was derived from using this derivation chain. Yeah. This is very useful to see where does the information come from. Does it come from the element which is selected at the moment, or does it come from a property set or whatever? Yeah. At the beginning, we talked about generated text. In this case, li and last p in li. You can select it, edit, generated text, para, colon, for instance, a hard space, file, apply and close. Now you have inserted a so-called generated text. Before text means at the beginning of this element P in LI. And once you update the editor view, you can see the result directly in this area. Last P in LI. Come on. Here it is. This is auto-generated text within your Styler style sheet for this context, generated text, and para. It is displayed in Arbortext UI in blue because it is defined in this case that it should be displayed in blue, but nevertheless for print to PDF, we must have the ability to give it a certain formatting, a different formatting. And you can do this either by using this, which is a PI, but this is not useful in this case. Why? Because this is a PI and not an element you can access to. And for this, the Arbortext editor provides a possibility to use so-called user formatting elements, UFE underscore, a double UFE colon. Let me say red. Yeah, okay. Give it a style. Make it an inline element. And once it is applied a style, I can select the properties, the text properties, do it red, bold, UFE red. And in here, we say generated texts, edit, mark the text and say insert, apply this user formatting element to this text snippet, to this auto-generated text. Another hint, if you want to translate this generated text later on, this must be checked. It is checked whenever you create such a generated text. Automatically, it is marked as based on text content, translate. If you don't want to translate it, you have to do it explicitly. Do not translate. Okay. File, apply and close. And once you update again, the styler takes a few seconds to update the Arbortext preview, the editor preview. Come on. Okay. As you can see, it is red and it is bold. And this text, this generated text, can be exported. This export creates so-called XLIF files, XML localization interchange file format. It's a standard format for translation processes. In this XLIF file, this text snippet is marked as the source language, and the translation provider has to insert the target for this source language. That means if it has to be translated in German or in French or whatever, there must be the German or French translation be inserted. And once it is done and translated, the XLIF file can be imported back again into the Styler style sheet. And then, depending on the language settings, the correct translation will be shown in here. Yeah. User formatting elements, always good to give your generated text a certain presentation, a different presentation. And the advantage is the same as we have seen before when we discussed about property sets. You only have to, you have a central point when you have, where you have to change, make your changes. And wherever this user formatting element is applied to, these changes will take effect. So it's another point of modular approach having in Styler style sheet. Besides all these settings you can do here, especially for the elements, you can decide to build up your style sheet in a modular way. That means you can say that you want to have a style sheet that consists of several other modules. For instance, you can say new. You can give it a name. Properties, for instance, title, properties, close. And when you want to have this newly created user formatting element in this module, you can say move to module or copy to module. And once it is done, you can see that this element, in this case, it's a user formatting element, is no longer part of this style sheet because it is now part of another style sheet, another modular style sheet, and it is named properties. And this you can do for all these elements you would like to move to another module, having the ability to create modules, and these modules can be used in any other style sheets based on the same document type. And this is a very, very huge possibility of modularization. I think it's the correct pronunciation, but I'm not sure. Sorry for my English.